welcome to episode 2 of V8 Budget Miata. Episode 2 is going to be disassembling the whole front of the car. We're going to be taking out the front bumper, headlights, possibly fenders. We're going to be removing all of the evap stuff, all the lines that we don't need, cruise control, wiper linkage, wiper motor, everything. We're going to open this whole bay up, and then radiator is coming out also, sway bar, and then we're going to basically open this whole thing up so we can start getting ready to cut. And I'll show you guys exactly where I cut and how I'm going to patch it back up. But this is the subframe is painted and drying. Once it's fully dry, I'm going to mount the 8.8 back on it, and then I'll show you guys how that looks. But until that dries, I'm gonna get going on the front of the car, take the wheels off, and possibly take the suspension apart. Basically just getting it ready so I can start cutting and possibly drop the front subframe if I have enough time this weekend, so I can start cutting and modifying the front subframe for the motor mounts for the 302. So stay tuned for the update. This is gonna be part 2, and we're gonna get there. Okay, as you guys can see, the whole front of the car is disassembled. I didn't really make video on how to take off all the front stuff because that's just basically bolt-on stuff. You can, headlights, bumper and stuff, anybody can take off. You don't even need to know how to work on cars to take those off. So, but I did clean up the engine bay. I took off all of the evap stuff that was on here because this car is actually too old to pass emissions, so it's exempt. So we don't need that anymore. I took off the cruise control. I was gonna take off all the wiper stuff, but that's in a whole nother section, so I'm not gonna worry about that. The sway bar, I left it hanging. It was up here. I just lowered it down because I'm gonna actually take that down with the subframe. I was gonna make part 2 working on under the hood and doing my cutting and stuff, but I think part 2 is gonna be subframe, front subframe, because it'll be a lot easier to cut and weld and plate with this out of the way, because I can just put the car up and legit just stand right here and do my work. With the subframe there, it's doable, but why work harder when you can work smarter? So I'm basically gonna put this on hold for now, these 2 cuts, and I'm gonna start working on dropping the whole front subframe. Once that's out of the way, then we're gonna start actually modifying the subframe, welding the 2 tubes for the mounts, modifying the rack. I have to modify this line here, possibly this front one, in order to clear the modified oil pan. But I think it'll be a better idea to take the front subframe off so we can have more room to work with. I was trying not to take it off because I still have the wheels on, and you know, I do use the lift to service all my other cars, and I was trying not to tie the lift up, but I'm gonna have to take it off at some point, and I'm not due for an oil change or anything anytime soon, so I think I have enough time to take the subframe down, and I can always do an oil change too on the ground if I have to. You get spoiled once you have a lift and you don't want to do anything on the ground anymore. But I'm gonna go for it, and I'm gonna take the front subframe down and start working on the subframe. That way I can get this done quicker. I can get those 2 done, and then I can just bolt it back up and then just drop the motor into the mounts that I'm gonna make. But yeah, so this is how it's coming along. I'm gonna show you guys the rear subframe, how it came out. I have laying right here 2 coats of gloss black Rust-Oleum. Came out nice. Welds look nice. Nice and protected. And once I actually put it on the car, I'm gonna spray some rust proofing. It's like a wax spray, and I'll show you what I use. It's not undercoat. Don't undercoat over paint. It's a wax spray that you spray on paint and surfaces just to protect it a little more. But this came out nice. So yeah, I got all my bumper stuff here. I'm gonna be bringing it down to my basement so I don't take a lot of room up in the shop. I got all the radiator and everything I took out of the car that I am gonna reuse. I'm gonna just move it down to my basement because it's gonna be a little while before I reassemble this. But yeah, so I think part 2, we're gonna do front subframe, modify it, try and finish it up and bolt it back up after we do the two corners there. I think it'll be a lot easier to do it that way. So, all right, well, front subframe is out. As you can see here, I'm gonna put this up. And look at that. I mean, now we have room to work. I'm legit just standing here looking up, and I have all the room in the world that I need. I still got to remove these two bolts so I can drop these lines out of the way, because I'm gonna have to cut right here. But yeah, so this area here and this area here wide open for me to cut and weld. So I don't know what I was thinking when I was trying to do this with the subframe on. Since the subframe was gonna have to come out anyway, it was kind of a stupid idea to even try. That's why I decided to just do the part 2 as a subframe and do the cuts as basically like a part 3. But yeah, so we're gonna do the subframe first. Since it's already out of the car, I basically just put the 2 front wheels and 2 tires on top of it. I took all the bolts out except for 1 on each side, and then the 2 that go on the strut. So I have 4 bolts holding the whole thing onto the car. I disconnected the brake lines, disconnected everything that had to be disconnected, and I had basically just the 4 bolts on the top and 2 in the bottom holding it in. So I lowered the car until the tires made contact with the subframe and started to lift it a little bit. And then once that happened, I just reached down on the car, released the 2 nuts, undid the 2 nuts on the top on each side, and just raised the car. So now I gotta move this. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to put this on the welding table or not, but I might just work on it on the ground, to be honest. But yeah, so we're gonna start. It's getting late today. I'm gonna wrap it up for today. Probably gonna try and work on this during the week, but if I can't, then definitely next weekend. You have to modify the passenger side. You basically cut this all off, plate it. I'm gonna do it to both sides so they match, and so I have more room. More room is always better. So yeah, this is the update for this weekend. Subframe's out. I can get ready to make my cuts. So we're making pretty good progress. I can't, you know, it's hard to work on a car all day Saturday, all day Sunday, every weekend, because at the end of the day, you have to make time for your wife, your family. You know, it's hard to be always out here. So, but I'm trying my best to, you know, be out here working on the car and give the family some time, because I want this project done. So just bear with me, but I think we're doing pretty good. I think we're going at a decent pace. So there's all the stuff there. I got to bring it to my basement. And yeah, so this is it for this weekend, guys. I appreciate anybody that's watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you can follow along. And I'll see you in the next video.